The Hornets went from a boring franchise to the most exciting watch in one season. We haven't seen a teenager transform a team since a werewolf did it in 1985. Actually, Miles Bridges was the dunker. But LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward were great additions. But still, they missed the playoffs. This video explains what the Hornets must do to take another jump to scare the league. Yo, it's Casey, this is AM Hoops. Hit subscribe if you like this video. At the end of the video, I'm gonna put the Offseason Wednesday playlist because we've already hit some of the most exciting teams. So let's start with the offseason basics. The Hornets have cap space. Wow, 22 million. Exceptions, the full mid-level and biannual exceptions if they use that space. Draft, they've got a 1.8% chance for the #1 overall pick. Probably though, like somewhere 10 to 12. Their needs, center, front court depth, and a backup guard if Devontae Graham leaves. But the most important thing this offseason is how to upgrade at center. Charlotte was 25th in defensive boards and awful at rim protection last year. The good news, Bismack Biyombo and Cody Zeller are free agents, so they can be replaced with a high impact player. My wish list for Charlotte is this: Jarrett Allen, who's a restricted free agent, Rashawn Holmes or Nerlens Noel in the free agent market, and Miles Turner in a trade. I think their best move is a deal for Miles Turner in exchange for Devontae Graham in a sign-and trade, plus the Hornets' 2023 first-round pick. Turner is exactly what the Hornets need as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate who has range to the three-point line. The Pacers do this to cut salary, which they need being so close to the luxury tax. They also get a young backup point guard, which they need, with TJ McConnell, a free agent, and Jeremy Lamb's suspect health. But no matter what they do, Charlotte should not bring back Devontae Graham. I'm sorry to say it, but eventually LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier are going to cost too much money. You can't invest however much Devontae wants into a backup. That salary needs to be put elsewhere on this roster so they can have a balanced squad. And believe me, Graham is one of the best second-round stories in a while, but he isn't needed on this team anymore. They do, though, have other free agents like Malik Monk. He's been a disappointment since 2017 when he was drafted, but suddenly he popped after January. Dude shot 40% from three, averaging about 13 points in 22 minutes off the bench. I think Malik has finally found his role. Now, the Hornets should offer him an extension. The problem is, will he sign it? See, sometimes players think that they're better than whatever contract offer they get. Lonzo Ball turned down the Pelicans offer. John Collins turned down $90 million from the Hawks. They bet on themselves. Will Monk do the same? I would offer like 4 years, $37 million, which really isn't a ton. I mean, that's slightly less than the full mid-level exception. If some other team is willing to give the full mid-level exception and make him a starter, then hey, he can get a better deal. Good for him. I am betting though, that is not on the table for him, so he will resign. Next up is a fat extension for Terry Rozier. People hated so hard on the Hornets for signing Scary Terry to a fat contract. Now the Celtics were dumb to let him go. He is healthier than Kemba Walker, and he played better too. A career high in field goal percentage, points per game, and all sorts of advanced stats last season. The most they can offer, 4 years, $96 million, and I would do it. Terry would get that somewhere else with how he just played, but the cap hit is less on Charlotte because they have his bird rights. Another player who could get an extension is Miles Bridges, but I don't think they'll come to an agreement because he will definitely bet on himself. In the draft, with the 12th pick, the Hornets select Corey Kispert from Gonzaga. They don't go for a big man because a rookie big isn't going to help anyway. That's why the Hornets need to use their cap space or a trade for one of the guys that I mentioned earlier. Kispert, though, provides shooting and defense. Two things they could need. He could be a 50-40-90 guy, especially with the space he'll get in Charlotte. If the Hornets lose Malik Monk or Devontae Graham, they're gonna need shooters. Kispert hit a legit 44% from downtown last year, scoring about 19 points a night. He's also a plus defender on and off the ball. This is a team trying to win now, and Kispert is a 4-year college player ready to contribute. Before we get to free agents for the Hornets, I have to say congratulations to this team because one of my favorite head coaches, James Borrego, just got a contract extension. Not every Greg Popovich assistant kicks butt. Look, I'm not saying he's a perfect in-game coach, but the Hornets have overachieved in the post-Kemba Walker era, and his player development with LaMelo, Devontae Graham, Cody Martin, and Jalen McDaniel has been very Spurs-like. So now, the Hornets free agent wish list. If they did that sign and trade from before, Charlotte would still have about $15 million in cap space. With that, they should target Montrezzi Harrell. Charlotte could go from the worst center depth in the East to a top 10 in the offseason. Harrell is a backup, and signing him to a 4-year, $60 million deal behind Miles Turner would be unbelievable. He could even play the 5 with Turner at the 4 if need be. Trez is a great offensive rebounder and a good finisher, which works well with LaMelo in pick and roll. Another option would be Patty Mills. I said earlier the Hornets could need shooting if Devontae or Malik Monk leave in free agency. They also got a boost from their forwards from outside last season. Bridges and PJ Washington hit around 40%. There's a really good chance that that falls off, and if it does, they would be really happy with a vet like Patty hitting from outside. Obviously, there is the Spurs connection with James Borrego, and the Hornets will need to hope San Antonio isn't motivated to pay up to keep him. The good news is if Michael Jordan wants to spend money, the Hornets have all that cap space plus their exceptions to get anyone on this list. And the big picture for this team is bright. They would have made the playoffs if it wasn't for LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward getting injured. It was clear Ball wasn't right, so they ended the season on a 6-game losing streak, but they still made the play-in. Next year, they will be healthy and have the tools to improve. Now, it is up to Mitch Kupchak to have back-to-back great off-seasons. All right, guys, the off-season playlist is right here. Like I said, we have hit some of the best teams like the Warriors and the Raptors.